How was the party? I wasn't invited.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Last year, no.
This exact moment was what people often consider as the beginning of the end for Ellen. After this interview, things for her continued to get worse as more allegations came to light, one story after another calling attention to behind-the-scenes abuse and harassment. These damaged Ellen's reputation quite significantly, and on May 12th, 2021, Ellen announced that she would be ending her popular daytime talk show following the conclusion of its 19th season. But the rabbit hole goes much deeper than just a single 2019 interview. To understand how we got to this point, we have to wind the clocks back to 9/11. Hey everyone, welcome to another video. I'm Hoosier Daddy, and today we are talking about how the events of 9/11 allegedly led to the downfall of Ellen DeGeneres.
There's so many choices.
They all lead us to the same place, where it started.
While it's not entirely clear who the patient zero is that led to this being a silly internet trend, it is worth noting that it has exploded in popularity since at least late 2023. It gained a lot of popularity just because of how silly and absurd the whole subject is. Well, that is what we are here to find out, so follow along with me as we go down this rabbit hole together. September 11th, 2001. A day of tragedy, fear, and above all, unity. Many people's lives were not the same after that fateful day. But there is one individual that the tragic events of this day had a profound effect on, and that individual is none other than Gerard Way. Working as an intern at the time for Cartoon Network in New York City, Gerard had just pitched a cartoon for the newly launched Adult Swim lineup called The Breakfast Monkey, a cartoon about a superhero Scandinavian monkey with the goal of spreading kindness and breakfast to the world. Cartoon Network saw this and said, nah. Shortly after, a loud boom was heard, and Gerard and hundreds of other people made their way out to this dock on the Hudson River to see what had happened. Witnessing the effects of the attacks caused him to change his views on life in the weeks that followed. Gerard gave an interview to Spin magazine, stating that he told himself, F art, I've got to get out of the basement. I've got to see the world. I've got to make a difference.
But I'll only tell you once. Want to hear it?
The same day he wrote a song called Skylines and Turnstiles, and not long after launched the now famous rock band My Chemical Romance. Alright, so from here the events kind of branch off into different timelines, kind of like the Legend of Zelda official timeline that Nintendo approved that makes no sense. Okay, so for better understanding. Hey everyone, just a heads up. So, while filming this video, I had a secondary camera recording just the board simultaneously. But the problem was the footage I had ended up being unusable. So there's going to be these close-up shots throughout this video that are kind of grainy and don't look the greatest. And I've added just the actual image itself next to it just for better clarity, so sorry in advance. Okay, so I've made a replica of the chart provided by Reddit user Genderluster, and I'll fill in the events here as we go. Alright, so far we have 9/11, which Gerard Way witnesses and starts My Chemical Romance. But then we have Joe Rogan, who starts hosting Fear Factor.
Oh, Joe Rogan, you crazy!
Yeah, that one actually has nothing to do with any of this. I just think it's funny that Joe Rogan and Gerard Way are related. Anyway, during the early years of My Chemical Romance, their music caught the attention of up-and-coming author Stephenie Meyer. Meyer was best known for writing the Twilight series, a series of young adult romance novels featuring a girl involved in a weird love triangle with a vampire and a werewolf. While stating that her main inspiration came from a dream, Meyer has also stated in interviews that music was a prominent influence for her writing, with her website showing a playlist of songs that inspired her, with Muse, Coldplay, and My Chemical Romance being prominently featured. Released in 2005, the book became a bestseller and was adapted into a film series starting in 2008. So this is where things get a little more messy. Our timelines here start to branch off in different directions. Our main one here will be the green one, but the red and the blue one kind of separate, but then they reconverge here. Our green one will be the Ellen timeline, while the red we'll call the Gerard Way My Chemical Romance timeline, but the blue one here we'll call the Twilight Robert Pattinson timeline. I'll kind of be jumping back and forth between the Robert Pattinson and Gerard Way timelines, so just bear with me. Alright, so with Twilight being adapted into movies, the world was taken by storm. You had Team Edward and Team Jacob merch almost everywhere you went. People could not get enough of this series. Not me, though. I was a hater. The popularity of the first movie launched Robert Pattinson into stardom, where he became a teenage heartthrob for young girls around the world for his portrayal of Edward Cullen. Then in 2009, we got the sequel, New Moon. Back to the MCR timeline. So prior to the release of New Moon, My Chemical Romance received an offer to make music for the upcoming movie, but Gerard turned it down, stating to Q Magazine, anything gothic like vampires just wasn't scary anymore. As a result, he wrote the song Vampire Theory, which was released on their 2010 album, Danger Days, The True Lives of Fabulous Killjoys. So now we fast forward to 2019. The band would continue playing shows and making music until March 22nd, 2013, when the band announced they would be breaking up. Fast forward to 2019, My Chemical Romance announces a reunion show in LA and future shows in 2020. These were later delayed due to the pandemic in 2021 and then again in 2022. During their Tacoma show, Gerard came out on stage wearing an Edward Cullen Twilight t-shirt. Back to the Twilight timeline. By 2022, Robert Pattinson had pretty much distanced himself from the Twilight franchise. He had been in several critically acclaimed movies like Tenet and The Lighthouse. But there was one movie he was getting a lot of attention for.
I'm vengeance.
The movie was a massive success, earning over $700 million at the box office. But there was one individual who liked the movie so much that he claimed he and his wife watched it twice in a row.
I think I'd like to try it a second time.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is where these two timelines converge. Gerard Way wore the Edward Cullen shirt on stage and praised Robert Pattinson for his role in The Batman before playing Vampire Money. Now, I know we got sidetracked, but let's get back to our main timeline. Okay, so we have 9/11. Gerard Way witnesses 9/11, forms MCR. Stephenie Meyer gets inspiration from My Chemical Romance and writes Twilight, which then is adapted into films. Well, turns out another author took inspiration from Twilight as well. Enter E.L. James, who became obsessed with the book and the movie that she even wrote her own Twilight fanfiction called Master of the Universe.
If you've been touched that way, don't be ashamed.
This series underwent many rewrites until it was renamed 50 Shades of Grey, a popular erotic fiction series published in 2011. The books were a wild success, kicking off their own film adaptation in 2015. Also, did anyone see these movies in the theater? I never did, but I saw something else around that time, and I was going into the theater as 50 Shades was letting out, and let me tell you, humid. These movies starred none other than actress Dakota Johnson. Now we're getting to the end game. While Dakota had been in movie roles before, playing the lead in the 50 Shades franchise put her on the map. This led to her being cast in the 2019 movie, The Peanut Butter Falcon. And this is where we finally get back to the infamous Ellen interview. To promote her new movie, Dakota was invited onto Ellen's talk show. In the interview, Ellen wished Dakota a happy belated birthday, and then made a remark about not being invited to her birthday party. To which Dakota responded, "Actually no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Last time I was on the show, last year, you gave me a bunch about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited." Soon after clarifying that Ellen was indeed invited, but didn't show up, little did anyone know this was the moment that opened the floodgates. Ellen was known for promoting the "just be kind to one another" message, but this one on-air interaction caused a lot of people to put Ellen's behavior into question. A lot of eyes were on Ellen at this point, and things got much worse starting in April of 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ellen released a video on the Ellen Show YouTube channel where she complained about being bored, comparing the experience to being imprisoned. Viewers were not happy about this. A rich talk show host complaining from her expensive luxury home.
Good heavens! This is a palace!
The video is still up, but comments are disabled. So the purpose of this video was to show you the series of events that eventually led to the end of Ellen. Now, I didn't want to cover too much of her actual downfall itself. We just wanted to go through this goofy series of events. So I'm just going to quickly summarize her downfall. 2 months after the incident on July 16th, 2020, BuzzFeed would post an article in which former employees as well as one current employee made accusations about the show being a toxic workplace. This launched an investigation by parent company Warner Bros., resulting in the termination of 3 senior employees.
You're fired!
In September, the show returned, with Ellen herself apologizing on air, but the damage had already been done, and ratings for her show were in freefall. They continued to plummet until May 12, 2021, when Ellen announced on her own show that it would be ending after its 19th season. And this pretty much ended her career. The internet is a weird place. People will use it for all sorts of purposes, like posting to social media, posting recipes, or even just keeping up with the news. Others will use it to piece together a series of events that eventually lead to the downfall of a popular talk show host. Some people use this as a way to test who is terminally online, and even though I've been on the internet for a little over 20 years, I still learn new things because this exact tweet is how I found out about this story. Thank you everyone for watching. For more videos, hit that subscribe button. I'm Hoosier Daddy, and I will see you next time. Yeah, I'm not even gonna get started on that.